Okay, that was a lot late than I would have liked. Let me just make a quick check and make sure. Okay, yeah, that works. Cool. So, one sec. Uh, okay, I need to do that and that. Does that work? No, wait. Why is it not working? Wait, what? Oh, that's why it's not working. Yeah, it works. But it is too loud. Wait, why is let's reduce it slight like a lot. That's a little too less. Okay, this yeah, I can make this work. Okay, we can make this work. Cool. So funny thing, the recording of our last stream, where we talked about the council, the audio got fried, and yeah, so we'll have to redo council. It's fine. We can go over it once again. I will not switch accounts and stuff like that. We'll just go over it on this account. And also there were a few things which I missed, so I am actually happy because now I can actually cover everything the council has to offer and not just the boosts and all. So yeah, let's start with that, and then we can go over and talk about some medieval age stuff. All right, three, two, one, let's go. So, council is one of the most important buildings in the game. Uh, I would argue till Space Age, it is one of the most important and one of the most affecting building in the game. But even after a Space Age, when Museum unlocks, it still is very relevant in the late game. And so, if a building is relevant throughout the ages, it's best if we can actually get over and understand it so that we can use it to our advantage. And that is the council building. So, there are a few things in council buildings that we want to go over. The first is, how do you get counselors? So every day you go to the recruit section and you can claim four standard recruitments of four standard cards. They can be anywhere from greens, from grays to or like oranges or goldens. Uh, Usually it will be all grays, but as you saw, I got two greens, which is decent, some which is decent, so that's nice. uh yeah, that is one way to get counselors. The other way is through fusion. Now fusion is basically you take three cards and you fuse them together to get a probability of getting a card of a higher rarity. So for example, right now we have Charlotte, Leonidas, and Queen. We have them duplicate, so what we can do is we can take these three cards and we can fuse them together. So when you fuse them, you take those three cards, you reduce it to one. Now there's a chance that I can get a card of the same rarity, or I can get an upgrade to the next rarity. So if we skip, as you can see, I fused three grays and I got a green. Now green is the second step. If you go here, the grays are the commons, then you have uncommons, then you have rares, epics, followed by legendaries. Uh, and the way they are worked is, for grace, for example, only the first line. Let's actually take someone whose name I can read, Cleopatra. So Cleopatra, the first line that says range infantry damage, that is the only active boost we have. If we go over to uncommons, wait, I don't have any Cleopatras. Let's actually then take Eric because I have Eric. I don't have Eric at all. What all uncommons do I have? Okay, I have Leonidas. We can talk about Leonidas. So Leonidas, as you can see, the first line which says defender hit points 5%, that is the only active line for a gray Leonidas or an uncommon Leonidas. If we go to common Leonidas, if we go to uncommon Leonidas, it has two lines. One defender HP, which is plus 6%, and defender spawn time, which is minus 8%. As you can see, the stat on the first line increased, and the second line also opened up as we went up a rarity. Similarly, when you go to the rares, there will be three lines which are opened: defender hit points, defender spawn time, and invading general's damage. And also, defender hit points, defender spawn time, the base stats has increased. So, the higher rarity you go, the better the cards get. If we can go over to Goldens, as you can see, a Golden Leonidas gives 12% defender hit points, minus 16% defender spawn time, minus 12% invading general damage, 18% general damage, and 12% defensive missile silo damage. So, as you can see, the higher the rarity of a card, the better the card is. So that is the second way that you can get better counselors is through fusion. Now, here's the thing with fusion, it's not a guarantee that you will always get a card of the better rarity. Most of the times, it would be a card of the same rarity. But in some cases, like I got lucky in my first ever fusion, and I got a counselor of the next rarity. You might not get lucky, and that is one of the reasons why the council is a very RNG or random number generation dependent, because you can end up not getting any plus one rarities for a long time, or you can just get it in the first try. uh, yeah, that is about daily recruitments, that is about fusion. Just because we are on the topic of daily recruitments, as you can see here, there are premium recruitments, superior recruitments, and also if you go over to Marco Polo, there is a legendary recruitment. The thing is, all these three are not worth your crowns. These, they say legendary, but it's just a marketing gimmick, because if you look at the rates, it's 69% uncommon, 28% rares. Legendary, it's 0.2%, like less than 1% chance of ever getting a legendary. So even though it is called a legendary recruitment, at the end of the day, it's an uncommon recruitment, and that is not worth the price point of 500 crowns. That being said, there is one singular recruitment, the mythical recruitment, which is 100% worth it. The only problem is you cannot buy it. The only way to achieve it is through collections. If you go far enough, I believe the 150 collection is a mythical recruitment. Now, the thing with mythical recruitment is, if you look at the rates, it has 75.3% chance that it's an epic and 24.6% chance that it's a legendary. So every single card is a guaranteed epic, if not a legendary. If you can get as high as 155, you will get a mythical recruitment times 11. Here you will have 11 different cards, and this by far is the biggest game changer when it comes to council. So your end game goal is to reach 155 counselors milestone and unlock the mythical recruitments. That will change your council game forever. And how do you get to 155? As you can see, I'm already at 20, so it's not that hard to achieve. All you have to do is recruit as many cards as possible, use any and all duplicate cards that you had. For example, as you saw, I had three duplicate cards, the Charlotte, I believe it was Leonidas, and the Queen, and we fused them together to get a card of higher rarity. Yeah, you do those fusions, and you keep doing it, and after a while, it will take time, but sooner than later you will reach the 155 uh, counselor milestone. When it was introduced, it was very hard because you needed to have every single card in game to reach 155 counselors, but they have been adding a counselor every month now, and because of that, reaching 155 is fairly easy if you are active in game, and if you are uh, recruiting daily. Uh, and also, in a lot of these events which they run, they give these free recruitments, so it's not that difficult to get uh, counselors these days. As you can see in my inventory, I have like 56 and 64, around 64 cards which I have in my inventory, which I simply haven't even opened. So it's not that hard to get it. It's just all you need is patience, and then you'll get it. Right. That is daily recruitments. We have talked about fusion. We have talked about the mythical rewards. Now let's talk about the boosts. So a council has two separate boosts. One is a normal counselor boost. So for example, as you can see, I can appoint three different counselors. We'll go Leonidas. This gives defender hit points and defender spawn time, not something that we want. We can go to uncommon heavy infantry attack speed. That is something we definitely want. Then we can go to Robert, who gives range infantry damage and wall hit points. We don't really want it either. So we can go to commons. This gives mercenary damage. Cleopatra gives range infantry, supply cart, mortar. I believe we appoint this general, sorry, this counselor. So this is one way to do it, is to individual counselors, where you look at in every single counselor's boost and every single, one second. Yeah. So one way to do it is to go through individual counselors, see what boost they provide, and based on that boost, pick which counselor you want in your roster or in your council. Like the way I did. The other way to do it is to go through committees. Now, committees is a very interesting uh, concept. You don't really have to use committees, but so, and most of my committees are still locked because I don't have a counselor. But I have Robert Bruce, so we can go over this. So, in a committee, the main counselor, so for example, this is Bruce's guardians, which means this is Robert Bruce's community. So you need to have Robert Bruce appointed uh, in the committee to actually get this community, or to get the committee boost. Once you have Robert Bruce, you also need like some subordinates or some other counselors which complement Robert. So for example, uh, let's actually clear out everyone so that we can go over it again. Yeah. So let's just say I want Robert Bruce's committee bonus, which gives me heavy cavalry damage, heavy cavalry attack speed, assault vehicle attack speed, and mercenary damage and HP. We go to Robert, we appoint Robert because it's his committee, so he needs to be active. Now, let's appoint one leader. Let's just go Joan of Arc. As you can see, the first line has a star colored beside it. That means that the first line is active. The second line that does not have a star basically means that the second line is not yet active. To activate that line, I have to appoint a separate leader. Let's just appoint this leader. Now you can see there's a star beside both the lines, which means both the lines are active, and both the lines, if I go to active benefits, will show up here. So heavy cavalry and assault vehicle attack speed and mercenary damage and HP 5%. Now, uh, another good thing about committee is the last line, which is separated by the three dots, if you can see. The last line the values of the last line can be changed based on the rarity of cards there are. So, for example, in this committee, we have two greens and one gray. So, the lowest card, because it's a gray card, it takes the common value, which is 5. If we had, say, a green card, a green leader, we don't have any. But let's just say if we had a green leader, it would jump to 8%. If we had all the three councils as blue, it would jump to rare, and then to epic, and then to legendary, depending on what the rarity of the card that is used. Now, it is important to remember that it is based on the lowest rarity in that entire committee. So you can have two legendary committees, but if the third card is a common one, it would still take the common value of 5%. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. That said, in early games, I would recommend to not mess around with um, committees too much, because committees is something which you would start using once you get to like higher ages, and it's more of a playstyle thing rather than a subjective thing. So sorry, objective thing. So it's better to stay true to one kind of boosting and forget the rest, at least till you have a lot of counselors to mess around. For example, in your multiplayer council, Noble's Academy, this is a useless one because, quite frankly, defense is not something which is appreciated or which is really worth it when you are talking about multiplayer. Miyamoto's council, the first line, dominations bonus resources, is good. The other two, not so much. Similarly, House of Thou, all the three are pretty much not really good. Same thing with Bruce's. Neither of them are actually decent. They can be decent for some time, but in the long run, you want to have Washington's Revolution because it gives barrack troop damage, and all enemy towers explode on destruction. These two are very important and very good lines, and you want to have them. But you cannot have them. Right now, I cannot have them because I don't have a Washington, or I don't even have any revolutionary uh, like claimed so far. So it's better that we go with the individual boost like we did earlier. We know Charlotte gives enemy wall hit points, which is good. We know Joan of Arc gives heavy infantry attack speed and heavy infantry damage, which are amazing. And then we can end up with this guy who gives mercenary damage 5%. So that for now is council. Choose individual counselors that give the best boost, appoint them, know what committee is, but uh, until you have a lot of cards and lot of cards of different rarities, don't mess around with committees a lot. Just go for individual boost. Once you have received 120, 130 cards, you have a lot of cards of different varieties. Even if you have 155 and have reached the mythical recruitments and have a lot of epics and some legendaries, at that point you can start about thinking of using committees. Before that, I would recommend to go for individual boosts. So that is counsel for you. uh, is there anything that I have missed? I am not sure. We covered recruitments, we covered fusion, we covered active benefits, we covered committees. Okay, just something that I will add. It's not really necessary, but every counselor which you get, a new counselor will give you some rewards. So commons give 5 crowns, uncommons give 10 crowns, rares give 25 crowns, epics give 50 crowns, and every legendary gives you 100 crowns. Also, these milestone rewards. For example, right now I can get 25 crowns. If I get to 32 uh, cards, I can get 50 more crowns and 5 premium recruitments. Then I can get one more premium recruitment, and as we go further and further, the rewards increase, with the best reward so far being the 160 reward, which is 20,000 crowns. So as we have mentioned in the past, that you would want to have your first 2000 crowns as used on unlocking the second slot of library and your second slot of armory. So council makes it fairly easy to do so now, because of all the things that you can claim. I personally like to not claim these crowns, because okay, once you get into the later stages, there would be something called as reroll. Reroll is basically, if you give 500 crowns, let's just say that you rolled a Florence Nightingale, and honestly, none of her. Okay, let's talk about war and not multiplayer for this. Let's just say you rolled, I don't know, Charlotte. Thing is, Charlotte is not a good counselor when you're talking about war legendary, when you're talking about war stuff. So let's just say you roll Charlotte and you don't really want Charlotte, and you would prefer to change her to someone else. In that case, you would give 500 crowns. Those values change. So for first reroll, it's 500. For second reroll it's 1500. For third reroll, I believe it's 2500, and for the fifth reroll, it's 5000 or something like that. So it increases for every reroll, but you can reroll to get a different counselor. So, for example, I don't want Charlotte. I can reroll her, and let's just say I get Boudica. Boudica is a decent counselor, so I'll be happy with her. So for that reason, you need a lot of crowns as well, and so I prefer to not claim all these crowns and save them for rerolling. However, because we are starting and we desperately want to get this second armory slot unlocked ASAP, I would recommend going and claiming these. Actually, I'll do it as well. I can actually claim all, right? Yeah, let's claim all. And the 75. Cool. So we just claimed a lot of crowns. We are already at 436. We just need around 500 uh 64 564 more crowns, and we'll be able to unlock the second armory slot. Nice. Um so council is done. I'll have to edit it. I'll edit it later. It's fine. That's not a very big deal for me right now. Um, cool. Let's go over medieval age. I believe we have everything. We have covered everything we can cover. For classical age, we have reached level 30. Medieval only required till level 28. So yeah, let's go over medieval age, because there are a few things that I would want to talk about, especially the embassy, the fort. Um, yeah, let's go to medieval age. And then we can talk about the stuff that medieval age has to provide. I sort of don't like the way they just dump the shipments everywhere. Cool. Medieval age. So we can talk about what embassy is and what it has to offer. um, Again, as we have talked about, the best way to raid is to go for high rage bases with exposed farms because you can get a lot more loot that way. um, or if you are in an alliance, you can ask for alliance troops. Usually you don't, you can do it in the early ages, but it's a good habit that after you have reached ages like industrial or um, okay, that's gone. That's good enough. What was the loot? 61,000. It's decent but not great. How much do we need for the embassy repair? We need 118,000 more. So what you can do is, if you are in an alliance, go to the alliance request troops and make sure to ask for any or stuff like any for raiding, something like that. You need to be polite about asking it. Uh, Actually, you should be polite about it because the thing is, uh, you are asking someone for help, and this is one of the most basic alliance etiquette which we especially like which we at Wizards really stress over. If a person is joining an alliance and the first thing they are doing is to ask for troops, that is an instant kick from the alliance. You do not want to do stuff like that. When you are in an alliance, you need to understand that you are playing a part in a team, so you do not want to sound as needy. So communicate with them, have talk, have laughter. uh, when you ask, also if someone else asks, donate, but make sure to not um, you know overdo it. For example, you can see this request that this says mortar and range siege for war. Any request that says for war, you should not touch, and you should only let the players from higher ages deal with it. Other requests which are like fallen infantry or my request which says any, you should be donating to those requests. And because if you go to your alliance, there is something called as lifetime donated and the troops received and the troops donated. So your troops received versus troops donated ratio should not be 0 is to say 500, 600. A lot of these, for example, are alts. So what happens is they funnel their advanced troops to their lower age alts for easier raiding. That is one way to do it, but because most of you would be starting out fresh, you will not have an higher age alt. So you for you to have like 0 donated versus 400, 500 troops requested, that does not seem nice. You would want to ideally have a ratio of 2 is to 1 at least, where for every 2 troops you have received, you should be donating some troops. You can have as high as 4 is to 1, but there are some alliances which really keep a track of it, and if you are a part of that alliance, you would have a harder time to stay for long. So just understand that being a part of an alliance means you are a part of a team and you should be playing your part as decently as possible. Let's rate some more. So classical age. Wait, I just realized we have gone to medieval age, which means actually we can not only upgrade a barracks. Where are my people? Oh, wait. Okay, we can not only upgrade a barracks, we can also upgrade a blacksmith. Actually, I'll cancel this. We'll first do blacksmith, and I'll do that so that I can speed it up by 1 hour, and then we can go on raiding a little. Cool. Um, Actually, let me just do that really quickly. So classical age, all the farms are exposed, but there is not enough loot for me to actually go there. Um, so next opponent, he does have exposed farms. Let's raid a little and then we can quit. Cool. As many farms we can destroy. That is good enough. They'll be distracted now, so it's better to just leave. Um, how much did we loot? We looted 45k, which is excellent. Retrain. Um, Go back and let's rinse and repeat. Exposed farm, but it's just one, which is sort of sad. Um, I could have rallied there, but it's fine. I am not sure if it was worth it. It was 11k. It was not worth it, in my opinion, but fine. Any amount helps right now. Um, hmm. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you for that. Just loot everything you can and as fast as you can because I believe. Oh wow. Let's rally till here. Let's sabotage this because you seem to have a lot of food right now. Wow. That was um interesting. Now we can quit. Because that was actually a very good raid, I believe. Yeah, 114,000, which is excellent at this stage. Um, yeah, I lost a few troops, but it's completely fine. We have 210, so if we want, we can put our embassy on upgrade and then we can talk about embassy. I would prefer the blacksmith to finish faster. I'm trying to not use crowns here because the thing is, um, you need the crowns. I can actually use them because I know that I can get crowns fairly easily in like a few days, but just because I don't want to set a bad example in front of you guys, I'm trying to use as little crowns as possible. I'll just ask for a few speed up requests. Um, let's ask for this. If it works, it works. Okay, we'll have to talk about library one day. Library and I believe even wonders we'll want to talk sometime. Um, okay, let's build spike traps then for the time being because we don't really have anything productive to do. And traps are the most productive thing you can do if you have nothing productive to do. Um, these are all 1 hour 12 minutes, which is quite a long time actually. 36. This can be instant. Let's do that. Wow. Oh yeah, I'm a Jedi. It's not prepared ones. It's fine. Actually, I'll take all my traps to one corner so that I can actually know what all traps I have. Um, cool. I believe those are all the traps. I have three spikes. I have three spike, two caltrops, and two ambush. Fine. Uh, how much is the clearing a forest cost now? It's 12 hours. That's a lot. Cool. That takes 36 minutes. I'll do it afterwards. Let's go for one more raid and then we can come and work on our armory. 83,000. Most of the farms are exposed. Even if they are not. Actually, I might be able to take the base completely. But classical age, there is not enough boost for me to do that, or like resources for me to do that. Um, so we'll just loot as much as we can and then we'll just rally them here to try and go for more loot, but yeah, they'll end up dying pretty quickly, so it's all right. Cool. We gained a little bit of loot, which is nice. Yeah, that's the thing in early ages. You do not have a lot of, you know, good stuff to upgrade. Pikeman takes 9 hours, but we don't have enough time, so we'll just speed it up because why not? Now, again, as I've mentioned in the past, you can use these speed ups or you can save them because these events, if you see, I believe Valentine's Day, no, Valentine's Day, no, this one. So, leaderboards, if you use speed ups for every 60 minutes worth of speed ups, you get 100 points, which are used in this global leaderboard. So, if you have a lot of speed ups saved, by a lot of speed ups, I mean like 200 or 300 days at some times for good legendaries. But if you have saved enough speed ups, you can actually, fight for a good legendary. This is a trash legendary, but actually, this is a decent legendary if you are a multiplayer defender. The thing is, multiplayer defender is not a thing. So, yeah, it becomes a trash legendary. Anyways, okay. So, troops to use. That is also, wait, our War Academy also. Oh, wow. That's a day. Let's do embassy first. And then we can go over. I would also like to prefer to talk about castle today. Um, we have space for a castle. It's fine. Cool. Let's do some more raids. Let's get enough food to build the castle. And once we have enough food to build the castle, we can talk about castle. We can talk about embassy, and we can talk about troops which you would want to upgrade. Nice. This is a base which is an amazing thing because I can drop a few troops here, a few troops here, and then I can just spread them all out like this, and I can get an amazing amount of uh, loot because of the dominations resource bonus. Ages like medieval gunpowder and such are actually really good because you can get a lot of loot very quickly. Just for example, I just finished this gunpowder age base. It was a very easy base. I finished it in, I believe, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and I received 200,000 food and 200,000 coins. That, if you look at our stuff, it only requires 500,000 food. Most of this stuff requires less than two raids worth of resources. So in the so it becomes like really really helpful and really good. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, resources gaining in early ages is a lot easier than once you reach to enlightenment. Enlightenment is one of the worst ages when it comes to resource gathering. It is severely under okay the best way to put it is early ages are all defense heavy. Till enlightenment age, it's all defense. Like y- offense just sucks until unless you are at least industrial age. From industrial age till late space age, actually till drone age, I would say now. They are all very offense heavy ages. Defense is not as effective. It's only in the drone ages and automation ages where the defense catches up with offense. So the thing with Enlightenment Age is it's, even though it has a lot of amazing stuff. For example, three upgrades on barracks, which gives five troops each, which equals 15 troops. And if you go to library, you have the standing army tech, which adds another 15 troops. So it an Enlightenment Age essentially adds plus 30 troops. However, because it is so defense, like because early game is so defense heavy, and because the next stage offense just starts to simply overpower defense, enlightenment age, it feels like a very bad age to be in, even though it adds a lot of fun stuff to do. um, so we're waiting for the embassy to finish. Let's actually do one more raid so that we have enough to build the castle. um this is not worth even raiding. 20k and 16k, 36k, not worth. 16, 13, not worth. 200,000, but not a lot of exposed farms and a bit of defenses, so let's move on. 80k, I can read this, but I would prefer to let's move on. Okay, 45k. uh Farms are exposed. We can, if we want to, just do that and then leave. That should be all. Wait, there is one more mill. It's right over there. It's two in between of defenses. We don't care about that. Um, that's 33,000 food, which is decent enough. Um, Let's do that. It's still 6 minutes and 17 seconds, so we can do one final raid and then we can talk about embassy. We still don't have enough food for okay. So zero food, we can leave. That was, I believe, 33,000, 36,000. Okay, even that works. That is okay. Let's wait 21 seconds and then we can discuss embassy. I believe the next stage is gunpowder age. No, we'll stay as Chinese. 30. Actually, the next stage is going to be the most fun age. So, yeah, I know how it works, but welcome to your nightmare. NTGs or National Trade Goods. These are the one thing which are the most dreaded even in the final ages. So, what are NTGs and what are these coalitions? So basically, every collision is either an offensive collision or a defensive collision. The best way to know it is in the embassy layout. It's offensive, defensive, offensive, defenses, and it goes all the way till the final age with final collision, which is a defensive collision. Uh, they all have their own traits. For example, Aztecs provide barrack troop damage and mercenary attack damage and HP. Um, Mongols add ballista and mortar attack speed and tactics damage. Similarly, Cherokee adds barrack troops HP and supply cart healing. Americans add factory troop attack damage and airplane health. And Ethiopians add at factory troop health and general attack damage. Those were the offensive collisions. For defensive, you have Egyptians, which add defensive building attack damage and building health. Maori adds defender attack damage and defender health. Indians add wall HP and town center health HP. Russians add garrison, tank depot, and bunker HP, air defense attack damage and health. We'll go over everything. Filipinos adds general's health and invading air troop damage. Anyways, we'll not spend too much time on it, but basically, when you are in world wars, you want to have coalitions because they are actually good and they are actually uh, uh, essential for world wars. For example, if you look at our biggest guy or our number one guy in our world war, he uses three defensive coalitions, which are Egyptians, Filipinos, and Maori. The next guy, who is an offensive guy, he uses three offensive coalitions: Mongols, Aztecs, and Cherokee. Usually, it's the better idea to not mix the coalitions. Go for either three O or three offensive coalitions or three defensive coalitions. As you can see, we can only have one right now. But once you upgrade your collision, the second collision unlocks in Gunpowder Age, and the third collision unlocks, I believe, in Atomic or Cold War Age. I'm not sure about which. It's probably Atomic, but it might be Cold War. So that's the three collision capacity, and that is what 3O or 3D means in a lot of when a lot of people are talking about 3O or 3D. Even a lot of my attack videos say 3O attack or 3D attack. They basically means that the attacker or a defender had three offensive or three defensive collisions. That said, NTGs. How do you get NTGs? Well, it's simple. When you attack a base, if you get a 3 to 5 star victory, there is a chance to get the NTG. Now, the problem with that is it is very random. You might end up raiding for 1 to 2 hours and not get a single silk. Again, it's all RNG, it's all luck based. You might not have any problems with NTG, or you might have extreme amounts of problems with NTGs. Uh, Usually, for the majority of uh, actively warring alliances, which war every other day, and because of that, they need NTGs every other day. It becomes a pain to keep up with the NTGs because once you start leveling up your coalitions, their NTG requirements also go up to a highest being 8. So if you were to use 3 coalitions, it is 54 different NTGs which you need every other day, which is quite a lot considering you get two no considering you get 3 NTGs every battle, and plus an additional one if you have Moctezuma capstone research in university. That's a university thing. We'll come back to it when we talk about gunpowder rates and everything related to that. But for now, it's 3 random NTGs you get every single 5 star attack. So to have 54, you not only need to have six. You not only need to do 16 attacks. You need to make sure in those 16 attacks you get the NTGs you need, uh, which is a lot to ask for for most of the time. So yeah, NTG grinding is still one of the things, a quality of life upgrade which the community is asking, and you never know when you are gonna get it. That's it. What uh, collisions should you upgrade? So for starters, I would suggest to only focus on Aztecs, Mongols, and Americans. All the rest you can leave for now. They are good, but uh, they have a very niche place. Whereas Aztecs, Mongols, and Americans, they are one of the more common ones, and they cover majority of the attack strategies. And right now, you want to work on diverse, on covering up different attack strategies rather than focus on one single attack strategy, because you are starting out. You never know when the current meta strategy dies and a new one arises. So the more diverse your options are right now, the better it would be for you in the end game. So for now, you want to focus on Aztecs, Mongols, and Americans. And the reason you want to focus up on Mongols and Aztecs is pretty much everyone these days uses barrack troops. And if you look at Aztecs, it increases, or it says stronger barrack troops and mercenaries, and Mongols is improved siege troops and damage dealing tactics. So let's talk about barrack troops. So as we have talked about in the past videos or past streams, the heavy infantry is a must upgrade for every age. Like, just keep it max and you would never regret it. That being said, as you can see, I have not researched on a lot of different troops. You can research it if you want to, but the three three or four troops which you would want to have maxed at every age possible is the heavy infantry, the ballista, the mortar, and attack helicopter. These four are the four most meta troops currently in game. There are other age specific troops, for example, from industrial age till atomic age. You want to use guerrillas or commandos as much as possible. Other than that, most of these are not really useful. So make sure you have your infantry, your ballista, your mortar, your attack helicopter, your gorilla, and your war tactics max at every age, and follow it up with collisions, which would be Aztecs, Mongol, and Americans. Now you would see that I did not talk about airplane. Now that is because once you get to industrial age, airplanes will be your first priority always. And when I mean always, once you get to a new age, the first few upgrades should always be your airstrip. Follow it up by upgrading your airplanes. Do not touch your ground troops until unless you have your air troops maxed. Air troops are the biggest. I'm sorry. Air troops are the biggest game changer, the biggest power surge in this entire game. Uh, However, you do not want to upgrade every single one, because the thing is, let's be realistic. Every single plane upgrade, like every single age, there are six different plane upgrades, and even the lowest one at industrial takes 6 days each upgrade. So that's six times six. That's 36 upgrade. 36 days you would spend just upgrading your fighters. If you were to then also upgrade your transports and your bombers, just add another 36 days, which would be 72, and then 100 and something days. So like you will spend 100 days just upgrading your planes if you were to blindly upgrade your planes. That is why you want to know, or you want to make sure that you are only upgrading the planes that matter. For the most part, zeppelins and bombers are not worth it. They have a very high museum, and a very you need to have, basically you need to have a very dedicated museum, a very dedicated council, and stronghold troops. I don't think I have any Tupolovs, but there are a bomber troop tactics called as Tupolovs, which are more or less essential for any bomber attacker. And the thing is, Tupolovs are not very easy to find. So, for a lot of times, you will have to buy them with real life money. And that is why bombers is a sort of expensive attack strategy and not something that is recommended to beginners. So, you should not be upgrading your bombers. The planes you should be upgrading, however, are your biplanes, which, when you go to the later ages, turn into fighters. You want to keep those maxed, and also you want to keep your transport maxed. The remaining recons, these unlock in digital age. That's already like an end game age. So you will know a lot more about the game by the time you reach digital age. So it's we let's not talk about that for now. But yeah, keep your biplanes, triplanes, fighters, whatever they are called, maxed. Once you get to global age and beyond, also keep upgrading your transports, and make sure that the planes that you have, or the planes that you use, are your first priority upgrades, and then and only then you go for troops, and then troop tactics, and then collisions, or the other way around, where if you are very much into wars, you might want to upgrade your collisions before you upgrade your tactics. That's completely up to you. That is something that um you can do it. Now I would actually prefer to get a little more food and build castles, so that we can actually talk about generals, because that I believe is also a very important topic or important conversation to have. um so yeah, let's do a quick few raids, and then we can talk about generals. Cool. I believe that is good enough. Yeah, that is definitely good enough. Cool. Let's build the castle and then we can talk about stuff. Do I not have any 30 minutes? Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. I'll have to do it. Um, because the stream has already been up for, I believe, an hour 10 minutes or something like that. And we still have a lot to cover. So I'll be speeding it up. I would still recommend people to not do it. Anyways, so generals. Actually, let me just build a bastion. Now, let's talk about generals. Now, here's the thing. Actually, before generals, should we talk about war weight? Uh, okay. Let's talk war weight and then we can transition towards generals. Now, what is war weight? War weight is a very under is okay. How do we explain war weight? Okay. So, what is war weight? War weight is a very debated, uh, uh, an an idea which does not have concrete evidence, but because everyone has experienced it for years now, it has somehow reached a point where people know about it, but they cannot prove it. So, what Warweight basically means is every single upgrade which you do, be it your offensive upgrades, be it your defensive upgrades, be it your economical upgrade, everything has a certain amount of weight associated to it. And the more weight you have, the higher you would be ranked on your World War roster. And the higher you are ranked on your World War roster, the more chances that you get harder opponents as your mirrors. For example, if you look at this one, 15 Napula, he is that is my alt account, and that is a Cold War Age account. Whereas if you look at our opponent's 15, that is just an industrial age account. So the war weight of Napula is low enough that he is ranked similar to an industrial age. Whereas if you look at a few of our other players, for example, Ali. Let's talk about Ali. Ali is also Cold War age and he's also ranked pretty low. However, if you look at 12 of the opponent, wait, it's also industrial. Never mind. Okay, Marisa could be a good example then. Their opponent 9 is a global age, which right. If you look at actually, let's not do that. Okay, let's not reveal people's World War bases, but let's just say their 9 is a global age base. But if you look at R9, that is a Cold War age base. So, what has happened is their global now has to hit a Cold War age base because the Cold War age base has less amount of war weight, and because of that, it was ranked the same as a Cold War age base. It's hard to explain, but basically, it's the more unnecessary upgrades you do, the higher the probability that you will have harder opponents in your world war. That is basically what war weight is. It has nothing to do with multiplayer. So if you just want to be a farmer, it's completely normal. However, farming is not fun at all, and all the fun in this game is from world wars. So I would suggest you to join an alliance, active alliance, who does regular world wars and make attempts on world wars. That is what makes this game fun, right? That being said, so how do you make sure that you do not have unnecessary war weight? One, is war weight really a necessary metric? Yes and no. War weight is overrated to some extent because after a certain point, you will need the XP, and to get those XP, you will have to upgrade stuff which you would not do otherwise. But it's not too unnecessary because at the end of the day, you will always want to upgrade your offense first. We have went over this. Your offense should be maxed first, and then only you should like attempt to upgrade your defenses. If you don't have your offense upgraded, don't even think about upgrading your defense. So if you are following the war weight notion, it's helpful for you because it will make sure that your offense is upgraded before you even start working on your defenses. So in that sense, war weight is actually not something overrated. However, there are some people, or including myself, in this community who are a little too obsessed with war weight. That only works out if you have an entire team who knows about war weight and who knows how to either manipulate it or how to use it to your advantage. Jedi Wizards is a perfect example for it. Most of these players on Jedi mm, are low war weight accounts, and because they are low war weight accounts, uh, eh, to be a low war weight player, it makes it infinitely more fun and infinitely more happening. However, for this you need to have, as I mentioned, a team or of players who know it. Majority of the dominations community, sadly, is not that well guided and not uh, that invested into this game, and because of that, majority of the alliances which you join will not be so war weight conscious, and so it's not really a necessity for you to follow the war weight notion that heavily. That being said, there are still some things which I would recommend to avoid, and one of them is upgrading unnecessary generals. Generals are sort of useless, if I could say so. Like, the only useful thing generals have in endgame as an attacker is to bait out Silo. Um, Once you get to higher ages, I believe Silo unlocks in Global Age. Um, okay, yeah, Global Age. When you reach Global Age, there is something called as Missile Silo, which gets unlocked. Missile Silo is a very long range. Uh, why did it open? I don't even know. Missile Silo is a very long range defensive building that deals a lot of damage. So you use your generals as a silo bait because the missile silo locks onto the highest concentration of HP of the troops. So and your generals usually have quite high hit points. For example, Joan has 14,000 hit points on level 1, but if you compare it to an infantry which only has 351 HP, so if you have generals, usually they will tank the hit, like silo shots, and that's literally the only use they have. So a lot of the times, in your armory, it's better to not use your like upgrade your generals. Reason, their utility is not as much as you would think, but there are a few generals which I would like to point out and which I would suggest upgrading at least some. The best general in the game so far are easily Zukov, Petra, and Sunzu. The problem, Zukov unlocks Space Age, Petra unlocks in Digital Age, and Sunzo unlocks in Information Age, which are the end game ages. It takes even the players who know what they are doing. It would take anywhere between 7 months to an year just to get to Space Age. Another 2 months at least to get to Digital Age, and another 3 to 4 months to get to Information Age. So even if you know what you are doing, it would still be a commitment of at least 15 to 18 months. Okay, reconnection successful. I have no idea what just happened. Where were we when we were talking about it? I'll need to go back and actually listen. Huh, I believe the last thing which we were talking about is generals. Cool. Um, I would assume this is where the disconnect happened, but if not, we'll see how we can do about it. So, war weight. Uh, the best generals are easily the last three, but as I said, it requires even the most advanced players or the players who know what they're doing. It would take anywhere between 15 to 18 months, which is a big commitment. And so there are some alternatives which you can do or which you can use. Uh, First is Joan of Arc. Joan is a good general, a good silo bait. She has the highest HP of all the generals, of all the non special generals. The only two generals which have higher HP than Joan are Sun Tzu and Hannibal. But these four, Hannibal, Zukov, Petra, and Sun Tzu, are considered as special generals because they have special abilities. Whereas all these others, Churchill, MacArthur, Napoleon, Joan, Cleopatra, Alexander, all of these are considered as regular generals. So she has the highest HP among all the regular generals, and that is why she is a good candidate. However, her damage usually falls off very quickly, and so she's not very desirable in the later stages. You can keep your Joan of Arc up till level 21 if you want to, but really it's not um, worth it to upgrade her more than 21. I say 21 because uh, as you can see right now she is melee, but as soon as she reaches level 21 she gains a range of 3. That is pretty much the only reason you would want to upgrade her to 21. Most of the generals, it's better off if you leave at level 1 because every single general upgrade also adds to your war weight. Even though you won't use the general, I'm sorry, even though you won't use those generals, because you have upgraded them, they would add to your war weight. So you don't want to have unnecessary war weight. and so only upgrade the generals which you use. Joan you can get till level 21. Similarly, Churchill is a good general which people use as a fourth general. So the thing is, wonders. This Pentagon is assign an extra general for to the Pentagon for defense. So what happens is, by the time you reach higher ages, you can get three generals appointed in your castle. Usually, there will be the final three: Zukov, Petra, and Sun Tzu. But then some people, once they are done with their university, they switch to Pentagon, where they can add additional general for defense. And as a fourth general, they prefer to upgrade Churchill because he has the second highest HP among the regular generals or the non-special generals. But he has also very high damage. I believe second highest damage. The highest damage is of MacArthur. So the second highest damage of all the non-special generals as well, which is why Churchill is a very good general which a lot of people use. So that is also a general which you can look for. And the third one is a general which I personally do not like at all. But a lot of the community love this general. Everyone has their own reasons, but it's Hannibal. The reason I hate Hannibal so much is the only way to unlock it is um, via university, which unlocks in Gunpowder Age. Now that is one thing, but the thing is, if you don't have stuff to reduce your university time on the base stats, it requires 555 days of constantly upgrading and researching on Hannibal to unlock it to level 21. You s- uh, it's such a big time ask that if you used those citizens and that time to upgrade your nation or to upgrade your civilization, you would end up being information age and having all these three generals fairly easily. 555 days is approximately 20 months. As I said, for the people who know what they are doing in 20 months, 24 months, it's fairly easy to reach information age. So instead of spending 555 days to to get one general, not even maxed at level 21, it's better to use those days to upgrade your civilization and get the final three generals. That being said, if you want to be a completionist, if you want to be someone who wants to have three decent generals early on, you can upgrade Zone to level 21, the Churchill to level 21, and go use your citizens and spend 555 days unlocking Hannibal and using it. It's totally up to you, but my recommendation and my advice is still that you unlock Zukov, Petra, Sansu, and if needed, you can work on Hannibal. Any other generals are not as much worth it. The only other exception I can give is Joan of Arc to level 21. Other than that, I would recommend and I would suggest to have all your generals as low, if not at level 1, because they will otherwise add unnecessary war weight, which you do not want to have. That is about generals. Is there anything else that you would want to talk about today? We have talked about the troops to upgrades, we have talked about generals, we have talked about embassy. Uh, okay. Yeah, I don't think there is anything else to really talk about. I'll put it down to upgrade. Yeah. So, I believe it's best if we wind up the stream. Let's go over everything that we have discussed in the stream so that I can use it as a weekly recap video, which we had posted on our YouTube. If you have not checked that out, go check that out. Um, okay, so what did we discuss? We started with, I believe, Embassy. We talked about NTGs, we talked about embassy and collisions. We talked about the collisions which you want to max at all point, which is Aztecs, Mongols, and Americans. You can have all those three at lower levels or at point where they are not hindering your progression. After we have done that, we talked about troops which you want to upgrade, which were your heavy infantry, the ballista troop, mortar, attack helicopter, and your gorilla or commandos, which you want to keep maxed at every single age. All the other troops can wait, all the other troops are not as necessary. Then we talked about airplanes and how airplanes are one of the biggest power surge in this entire game. And so you want to upgrade or you want to keep your planes maxed, and they should be the first priority every time you age up. Um, and then if you have time, upgrade your troop tactics as well. Sorry, war tactics as well, because they are good. Then we talked about war weight, what war weight is, and is it really necessary or is it really something to obsess over. We went over the defensive war weight, offensive war weight, right? And we decided that war weight majorly is overrated, but there are some things which you can take from the war weight discussion and apply it to your progression, which will help you in progressing through the ages faster. Then we talked about generals, and we talked about the best generals in the game, which are still Zukov, Petra, and Sun Tzu. And then we talked about other alternatives which you can use instead of the three generals, which are Churchill, Joan of Arc, and Hannibal. Although I would not recommend Hannibal to any beginners because of how much time it requires just to unlock it. Uh, if you have or if you are committing that much amount of time to the game, it's better to progress through the ages and get to the newer ages and unlock the better generals or the best generals in game, which are Zukov, Petra, and Sun Tzu. Then, oh yeah, we also talked about the council building and the different committees and individual boosts, fusion, recruitments, how all those things work. Um, yeah, I believe that was all we discussed. Oh yeah, we also discussed about the alliance etiquettes and uh, how when you join an alliance, you should be polite. You are joining a team, and essentially other players who are as invested, if not more invested, in the game as you. So it's better to one treat everyone respectfully. Two, if you are going to ask for troops, make sure that you have interacted with that bunch before. Don't just join an alliance and send the troop request immediately. Talk with them, have fun, get to know them. If there are requirements, or if they say stuff like in order to join wars you should join our Discord server and stuff like that, follow it. If you are not on Discord, if you would not, or if you would like to not uh, you know mix your Discord life with your real life or your game life, it's fine. Move on, find a new alliance which is a little more chill and a little more relaxed. It's completely normal. However, if you are joining an alliance, be sure to follow their rules. if a request says for particular troops, or if it says this is for war, do not donate to those troops, or do not donate to those requests. If you are asking for any for any troops, one, if it is for a war attack, you should specify that it is for a war attack and that is why you're asking for troops. If it's for multiplayer, you should specify that it's for multiplayer and not ask for specific troops. Rather, just say any, and like whatever troop that the other person have at their disposal, they'll just provide it to you, which should be good enough for you to last like multiplayer attacks, because multiplayer defense is not something which a lot of people build. Right. Then is there anything else that we went over which I am missing? I don't think so. Then we went over a little bit of week one stuff, how to raid and maxing your offense before defense and stuff like that. But if you have seen the first recap video, you should know about everything at that point. Uh, yeah, I feel like we have reached a point where the progression is not doable at this point without actually spending either crowns or speed ups. And also the stream has been like has more or less reached the point where I wouldn't mind ending the stream. So yeah, have a nice one, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow with another stream. Believe tomorrow is Saturday. Uh, yeah, tomorrow is Saturday, so I'll see you guys tomorrow again. It probably won't be a domination stream. It will probably be either a Minecraft stream, a chess stream, or a Krunker stream. I will see. Uh, I'll talk to some other streamers and some other friends, and if they want to, um, you know, tag along, I might join some of them. We'll see what we play tomorrow. But as for now, this is all we had in store for today. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice one.